I'm about to start session 3 right now, so I am going to go ahead and start working on getting that lead rope on him. He's already got the halter on. He's a little bit worried because they're walking a couple of the horses around the paddock right now, and again, there's the horses out and they were just kind of galloping around and causing some chaos, so we'll see how this goes. Basically what I'm going to do is put the line on, and then I'm going to swing it back and forth, let him get used to the motion, and then what I might do is add some energy from behind, push him forward, and then ask him to move to the side. However, if he gets stuck, what we're going to do is, again, break up the feet by going either left or right, and then try to get some forward steps. I'm starting with a pretty long line on him. That way, if I need to, it can reach the center of the round pen to the rail, hopefully. So right now he's not really drawing in, so I'm going to ask him to move forward, just adding a little bit of energy behind. And this isn't the worst thing because it is prepping him for when I put that lead rope on him. Good boy. This one's a little bit tricky because there is no metal snap on it. It is all just rope. So I'm going to have to make sure that I can be kind of quiet but still quick enough. Good. He's understanding the draw for the release. You can tell he's a lot more confident with his draw there. Good boy. So again, just like with haltering, I have to be careful that I don't get my fingers stuck in the grip at all. Good boy. Especially when he's wanting to play with it more than anything. Good, so now that I have it on, I'm going to let there be some longer line, and there are some horses moving around. I'm going to try not to add pressure yet. So he does have that rope behind him. I'm not going to pull or add any pressure. My goal here is going to be just to loop it back over his back. And this is good for you guys to see because sometimes you want to be able to see those real training moments and know that these things happen. Good boy. So normally, if the horse knew how to give to pressure, I might toss it up over the back or add pressure to see if I can get him to turn. Right now, I'm either going to use my body language or just dropping the rope. Right now, he's got it all around his legs. I'm still not adding pressure. I'm kind of just watching his reaction right now to it since he's presenting the opportunity to look at it. See if I can kind of catch his eye, draw him in. Good boy. So I've got two options. I can either drop the rope. Good. Good. Or I can try to snake it up over his back. Now I don't know if he's ready. There we go. For snaking over the back, I was able to get it just with my body language there. I'm going to go ahead and let him move forward since he's kind of worried about the horses in the woods. Like I said, I kind of want to work with the horse that I have right then. Although my goal is to get him to give to lead pressure. If I try to take this young horse that's pretty nervous and confide him to leading and staying in one spot, I'm not going to be quite as successful. So I'm going to work with this forward energy. Good. Make sure I keep up with his pace to stay behind that drive line. And then I might add a little bit of pressure to the inside here. Good. When he tips his nose in and yields his hindquarters, I'm going to release. Good boy. I'm going to try to adjust my camera. Always make sure, especially when you're working with these long ropes, that you aren't getting your fingers all caught up in them. So right here, he was just pulling off to the side. So I'm going to hold pressure and release. And of course, I'm going to work with his draw kind of naturally. See if maybe we can get a step to this side. Good boy. So there wasn't much pressure on the halter there. I'll see if we can get it again. The goal is to get those front feet to unlock, so I'm going to keep moving off to the side. Good boy. There we go. With Mustang, when they get stuck, good boy. You're never going to pull straight forward with them. They can just lean against all of that pressure. So what you do is go to the side, which gets them a little bit off balance. Good, so I'm going to hold pressure till he comes in a little bit. I want more than just the hip, I want that front feet to unlock. So I'm going to keep asking, and I may have to go side to side here. Again, just waiting for the forward motion. There, I got one little step, so I'm going to release. Good, and again, off to the side a little bit. Almost got one forward step. Good. Good. Good boy. Good. Anytime there's a slight try, even if it's just a baby step, I'm going to release. Good, and I'm not talking too much over this part because it's just a lot of repetition and moving side to side with him. Good. Good boy. There you go. Good. Okay, so what I'm about to do, good, is send him forward with no pressure on the line right now. Good boy. So initially, anytime I send him forward, I don't really care how far out he goes or with what energy he goes out with, as long as he moves away from that pressure. And then as he's out, I'm going to add a little bit of pressure to that line. So I might use more of a sending technique for this guy. So if you notice, good, I can get the forward motion, and then as soon as I put pressure on, he yields his hindquarters, which is great. Good, but I don't get too many forward steps. So if I went more into a sending position, I could transfer to him just like I do when I send him out to lunge and go to the side, but add a little bit of pressure from the lead rope to help guide. So it's kind of like a transition cue. So how it would look is a little bit like that. Good. Good. So I'm going to ask again. I'm going to say, keep the pressure on if he's backing up. And wait until I get a forward step. Go to the inside here because he kind of blocked off a little bit with the rail. Good. And then release. So I'm going to go back into that sending technique because I think I'll be able to work through quite a bit of the pressure. Good. Again, as soon as he moves, release. And I'm going to tip the nose in. Good boy. Good, and use the draw to my advantage there. Good boy. So when they do that, I don't hold down with my whole entire body weight. Good boy with swinging over the head. I don't want to release all the tension because obviously they're pulling against it, but I do release a little bit more for the sake of letting the rope slide through the hands, and that's just something that over time takes a little bit of feel. Good. A little stuck on that side again, back over to here, and then we'll send forward. Good. Again, there was a little bit of a release there when I had him pulling to the side. And I'm going to keep it over his neck for right now. And just keep that tension on it as he's moving around until there's a little bit of a give. A little bit of a give. No wait, because we're getting that same reaction. One more forward step, which is basically the hindquarters moving and the front end locking up. Again, I'm going to wait. And either way, whether it's pressure on the head or the neck, good. That was forward. I don't want to release just to readjust to get the head pressure. I'm happy working with neck pressure too. Good. I'm kind of stuck with that hindquarter yield. So another technique I might use is going into asking him to continue to yield his hindquarters until he wants to take a step forward. I do have to read the body language there, which is why I kind of slowed down my footfall, because he was thinking about going out to the side and bolting like he was doing before. So my method with this, and I use this under saddle sometimes too with the horses that are really sticky footed, good boy, is if you move them to the side enough and yield the hip, they're going to get pretty sick of going in circles and want to just go forward. Good, and I released that time, even though he didn't fully turn in, because he did give on the circle, and instead of pulling out wider, he tipped his nose back in. So I guess for this guy, we'll work on lunging first. So this is more of sending forward than anything. Good boy. And we might go back in a minute to working with the draw to get the leading again. Just make sure if you use this technique with your Mustang that whenever you send him out, you're really careful not to pull on that line and that initial jerk away when they go forward. Some of them react a little bit bigger than others. He's not too bad. He's pretty average about it. So then I might step in front of his drive line, back up, and then we're in that same sticky spot again. So I'm going to wait and then go back to sending him if need be. So right there, how I let all that slack just come through the line because I was asking him to move forward. I'm not going to add pressure at the same time for him. That's something a lot of people need to be cautious about, not even just working with a Mustang that's a little bit more feral, not gentled yet, but any horse in general. If you add pressure, you want to make sure that you're not pulling back and telling them a contradicting cue, immediately asking them to move forward and then saying, no, but not like that. That comes more with time and precision to the point where you won't necessarily be adding tension to that rope while you're asking for that forward energy. I'm also trying not to nag him, so anytime he's slowing down is when I add a little extra energy. Other than that, it's just kind of my body presence that's keeping him going through here. So now I'm going to add some pressure. So that was less of a hindquarter yield. boy. Space to come into. Good. I'll reward that little step right there. Give him some space for a second. Good. There you go. Good boy. And he doesn't even have to trot. He can walk. Good boy. Good. So right now I'm holding my arm up, kind of using this rope as a visible cue for him to follow. So my card ran out of storage and I didn't realize for a little while, but we made some progress. Basically, I kind of followed through with the same tactic, and then I kind of went into more sending him along and walking more side by side with him rather than at him. That way it was almost like if I'm asking him to come from behind. Now I didn't have the whip or anything, and I wasn't using the lead rope as extra energy behind me or anything. But we worked on that for a while, and then worked even more on getting that hip to unlock, to get the shoulder to unlock. Right now we're getting some draw. I do want to show you guys what he's like with that pressure on the lead rope, because we definitely made some progress there. So I'm going to go ahead and walk to the side while adding pressure to the halter. I got a forward step, so I'm going to release. So I'm still at the point with him that after even just one forward step, I'm going to release and reward. We just had a really good training moment not too long ago when I asked him to come forward, and it was a little bit too close to me, so then he got scared and wanted to back up, but then he stopped from the pressure of the lead rope, which was really cool, and I was able to get him to take one more step forward before releasing. I'm able to get those forward steps followed by some draw, which is really nice. I'm going to see if I can direct him to change and go to his right. Good boy. A couple more steps. Good. Asking a little bit too forward, so then I break it off to the side. That's going to be your biggest key with these guys when you're teaching them to lead, is making sure that you unlock their feet to the side if needed. Good boy. Good. So now we're starting to connect the draw and the follow with the pressure on the lead rope. Anytime he's walking up to me, even if it's at a really slow pace, I release the tension in that rope. Good boy. Good boy. And we're going to change directions. Good. Good boy. Good. There we go. So now that's pretty soft on the line. But again, working on that tension. Good boy. Good boy. Come on, one more good give. There. Step. Good. And step up. Good job. All right, I'm going to end that session on that note with him. I'm really happy that we were able to make a breakthrough and connect the really good draw that he had going on with the lead rope pressure. He definitely got a little bit sweaty this session because it's pretty hot out and he was moving around. So I'm going to let him be done right there since we just had a nice big release, and take the halter off, and tomorrow will be another session.